This is Stacia, and we're going to take a look at a training game that I played on chess.com. I played this game today, and I had the black pieces. My opponent was rated 1520, and I was rated, well, he was rated 1527, and I was rated 1560. Yeah, I'm definitely looking to cross 1600. um, I've definitely been over 1600 before, and I honestly feel that I'm probably close to 1700 in my true strength, so it's annoying to be 1560 right now. But let's see how this game went. My opponent opened with e4. I went e5. This is my new repertoire. Knight f3 and knight c6. So I just started playing this way in January, so it's I've had a couple months of this, and I halfway know what I'm doing, but not totally. So this game I faced bishop c4, the Italian game, and here I like to play bishop c5, which I believe is the main line. I'll check. It is. And here my opponent played z3 or c3. This is the main line. Now I play knight f6. This is a counterattack on the e pawn. And he played the move d3, defending the pawn. Also possible is d4. This is called the center attack. And I've seen this move just as often, if not more often, where you take, they take back, now you check, and after bishop d2, you get this sort of thing. The knight is now guarding the pawn, and then d5 is the move. So instead of that, though, we had a more tame opening. Find where it was. With the move d3. Okay, so here I castled. I think this is fine. Although I think the way my opponent played is interesting. I actually missed this move, but he can now, with c3 in, white can play b4, attacking my bishop at any moment. And that is what he does, the move b4. So I went bishop e6. Yeah, and it looks like I'm looking at the opening book, and a4 scores pretty well for white. That isn't what was played in the game, but I want to take a quick look at it. I probably would go a6, castles, d6, knight bd2. I guess the game just continues. Yeah, and actually after these moves, looks like pretty equal game. Pretty equal results in the database. So let's go back. a4 was not played. Instead of that, we saw the move bishop g5. So this one is interesting. We're still kind of in book. There's only 12 games left in the database, and this is the chess.com master database. So this pin can be really annoying. I don't have an easy way to break the pin. If I ever move my queen away, he can take and wreck my pawns. And I would end up with this structure with doubled f pawns and an h pawn. So it's a little annoying to deal with. So I was already thinking of maybe a plan like d6, knight b8, knight back like this, like this maneuver that happens in the Breyer ice cream variation. Okay, but let's look. I played d6. So now if he attacks my knight and I move my knight away, he doesn't have knight takes d5 anymore. And he castled. And I played h6. So I think if he takes the knight, I'm pretty happy. But he maintained the pin. And now I'm learning more about these types of considerations, like a move like g5. I kind of wanted to play g5 here, but I thought the sacrifice might be working. So I actually didn't play it. I played the move bishop e6. But let's have a look. Had I played g5, yeah, the sacrifice is working. So he could take. And now this pin is more annoying than ever. And not only that, but the queen has scope. Maybe not immediately, Maybe a move like this could be really annoying. It wants me to play a5. I'm wondering what I will play against this. I don't think I would play a5. I'd probably go ahead and play this move. Yeah, and queen f3 is the response. So now this knight is attacked twice and pinned. I'd have to play king g7 to defend it. Yeah, it just... I mean, the computer says that white has a moderate advantage of plus 0.7. But this is not comfortable for black to play. I guess knight d2 is the move now. And it wants a5 again, or knight b8. Hard to play knight b8. It just feels slow. Queen g3. Now the queen is lined up with the king. That means there's discoveries. And wow, computer wants to allow them, but knight bd7. So I'm very confused. I guess bishop takes is met by king takes. Is that true? Yeah, this is actually good for black. I actually have resources now. So I guess the point is the discoveries aren't working. Yeah, there's no discoveries. Wow, so yeah, this is fascinating, and this would have been a very sharp continuation to the game where despite the computer not thinking white is overwhelming here, I'd say it's much more fun to be white. So let's go back. In the game, I didn't play g5, so I rightly decided that g5 was not a good idea due to this exact thing. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, and I was afraid of that kind of stuff. So I played bishop e6. Idea being, if he wants to trade, I'm fine with that. I'll take with my f-pawn, and then my knight will be defended by my rook. So I can move my queen and release the pin. But he played here, maintaining. Makes a lot of sense. Now if I take the bishop, he'll take with the knight, improving his pieces, so I didn't do that. I decided to go for this maneuver. So now I want to know if this maneuver is correct or not. Computer has it listed as the third move, so that's good. But it says a5 is clearly best. Very interesting to me. I think I didn't want to play a5 because of b5. But I guess you could argue that I want to bring my knight to b8 anyway. So that must be the argument. And now I have some space on the queen side. And the engine line continues h3, knight bd7. And now he's defended by a knight. Rook e1. And now take here and play a4. So I have to admit, I don't understand moves like a4. I guess we're stopping the queen from coming to b3. That could be the thing, and gaining space. So my rook will likely remain on the a8 square in this line. Okay, anyway, let's get back to the game. I hope you're learning stuff, though. I like looking at new middle game ideas. I played knight b8 immediately without throwing in a5. And he now played a4. And I played a6, got to stop the threat. And queen to b3 was played. So I liked this move by my opponent because it did create a little threat of bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes check. And I think I don't really want to allow that, winning a pawn. So I took the bishop now. He took with the knight, and I went knight bd7. So computer agrees this is fine. Computer also likes g5 at this moment, although white is better here. So yeah, white is almost a pawn better according to the computer. And I have to admit, I agree with that. I had to waste some tempos, because this whole thing wastes some time and this pin's annoying. I mean, white is clearly better. I have problems to solve. Okay, he took the bishop. I'm not sure about this move here. Although my bishop is a bit of a monster on the square. So he took, and I actually took with the knight, which is annoying. So I went through a lot of trouble to get my knight on the square, and now he moved again. All right, so a5, and I came back again, and now queen to c4. Not sure I truly understand this move. I guess it's a bit of a queen invasion. The queen looks short on squares here, though. And, okay, so it's time for me to figure out how to proceed. I think in this position, one of my main goals is to break the pin still. I still don't like this. Very annoying. And another goal would be to get my queen off the back rank so that my rooks are connected. Right now, if I play queen d7, he actually has queen takes c7, and he'll be on this. All right, so I went ahead and played the move g5 now. So I correctly deduced that now g5 is okay. I don't think this sacrifice works anymore. This was not played in the game, because there isn't really any pieces to join in and attack the king side, right? The queen's sort of offsides for that plan, and the rooks aren't going to easily get involved, and I think that this is totally fine. I'm also going to move my queen and move my knight soon, and probably play something like f5. Not sure, but this was fine. In the game, he played bishop g3, and now I thought knight h5 was a natural move, although I'm noticing now it's not in the computer's top choices. Let's see. Yeah, it's fine, but there's other moves. So let's have a look. Let's see if we can understand some different plans here. Rook e8 is a plan. Don't understand that at all. Is there some kind of threat I'm not seeing? Rook e8 followed by knight h5 is what the computer wants, and rook b8. Queen d5 is going to happen. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe knight h5 is met by queen d5. No. So yeah, I'm having a hard time understanding what's going on here. Rook e8 is not a move I understand. I didn't even consider rook e8. I mean, the queen is pinning my f pawn. Taking a defender off of it doesn't seem right to me. Also, this is a half-open file. Or I guess it's not. But I mean, I have dreams of going f5, so I don't know. I don't like rook e8 necessarily. Rook c8 is another move. I actually did briefly consider this one, but I wasn't sure my rook belonged here, so I didn't want to spend a tempo on that. Okay, now I see knight h5 is the third option, and now the computer says they're all about equal. But white has an advantage, but all three moves are fine. Okay, so I played here. I had to worry about d4 a little bit. I have to keep an eye on this break, but I am threatening to take the bishop, which is nice. He played a3. Now, I could take the bishop, but I thought opening up the f file for his rook was not ideal for me. Turns out that is correct. Computer really likes white after this little exchange. Not to mention, this bishop's a horrible piece right now. Like, he went from being a star to being a garbage piece. I mean, he can barely move, and I've got a very nice wall of pawns keeping him contained. So taking the bishop would be incorrect, and probably even this move. is a little bit iffy because he could trade it off. Although the computer still likes this. Okay, but I decided I would leave the tension. I'm sure I did something else here. Or did I? No, I did go knight f4 actually. So he can take the knight. Maybe he should. I do have this check now, so if the queen ever like missteps, I might have a fork. But she would have to be on this square or this square or this square for that to work. And now the d4 brick was played. Yeah, and this move is approved by the computer. And how to deal with this. So during the game, I don't think I was too concerned about takes. I think that would be okay. What did I do? Yeah, I had a this is actually kind of a critical moment for me because I wasn't sure how to proceed here. If I check, he takes me, so that doesn't work. If I take here, he actually could take my knight in that moment, and that would wreck my pawns. I'd have really messed up pawns. So I think that's a very bad option to take. The other thing I was considering was like knight f6, attacking this new weak spot. But if knight f6, I think he could just take here first, and now the queen's defending the pawn. So I don't want to do that. So it was kind of hard to come up with something here. Another idea was d5, but I think then, again, he could take here. Yeah, I don't know. And I have to be careful because white is more developed, and white has a pin on my f-pawn, and white can choose to take here at any moment. So I have to be really careful. I ended up going with the move b5. Computer likes rook b8, rook e8, and c6, none of which I understand. Yeah, rook e8. Maybe rook e8 eyes this pawn. Maybe that's a point. Maybe it also allows. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. c6 seems to indicate we might want to go d5. Yeah. So I played this move, b5. Now, if he wants to go en passant, I was reasoning that my knight would come to the b6 square with tempo on the queen, and maybe that's okay. And that is, in fact, what happened. And he brought the queen up to this square. So now this is what I call a queen wedge, because I'd certainly like to move my c pawn at some point. But now I'm tied down to this pawn because the queen is blockading it. And as much as I'd like to play queen d7, I don't think it's working here. Computer says it is. So I'm really curious about that. Let's have a quick look at this. Queen d7, if he takes, knight takes. And now I thought, let's see. Actually, I thought this was good. Oh, but I can throw a knight e2 check here. King h2. Now here. Or wait. Yeah. This resulting position. I mean, didn't I just lose a pawn? That's what I'm thinking. I guess I'm going to take here, though. Yeah, and I'm not really sure what's happening here. Computer says white is better. And I think the reason is my c pawn is a problem. And He's going to have f3 and then get the rooks involved. He can easily defend this. So white has an advantage here. Okay. So in the game, I didn't play queen d7 right away. I first played the move f6. So my idea was to simply defend this again. Computer doesn't like it. It says bishop takes followed by rook f5 is, or rook a5 is really good. Yeah, actually that I missed. The idea is to blockade my a pawn and probably double up on the a file, and I'm going to have a hard time defending. Yeah, I think white's winning there. Okay, so luckily my opponent didn't find that plan. He instead played here. Wow, and the computer says black is better after this move. I kind of had that feeling during the game as well. Best is knight e2 check now, which I found. Knight e2 check, king h2. I took the bishop, so I don't need to do that right away. But I did that because, well, my opponent's idea was that if I try queen d7 now, queen takes, knight takes, pawn takes, and there would be a pin on my d pawn. But the problem is, I think knight e2 check works. Yeah, let's have a look real quick. This actually is fine, so let's look. I would actually throw in knight e2 check. King h1. And now if he tries this, I take with the f pawn. And he doesn't have this move, does he? Let's see. What about this move? Now I can't take with a pawn, but I can take with a knight. Yeah, now there's no pin. The pin is gone. So yeah, it doesn't quite work. So that was his idea, but I did find knight e2 check, king there. I took the bishop. And only now did I play queen d7. So, I mean, you know, I'm just trying to solve my problems as black, you know. So I knew that I was worse unless I could connect my rooks and chase this queen out. And so that's my first order of business, is just to try and equalize and stop the pressure. He did take, I took, and now g4 was played. Yeah, and at this point in the game, I was feeling a lot better. And okay, I played knight b6. Knight b6. Better is a5 immediately. I do play this soon, though. I just thought activating my knight was a good idea. I'm going to come in here. Maybe I have this idea. Computer doesn't like it because rook a1 would stop the counterplay I'm going to get on the a file. But he moved his knight as well, and now I played a5. He took, I took. And now the a file is very important. My thoughts during this part of the game is that I have some more problems to solve still, but I thought maybe white is starting to have issues as well. So like my f pawn is weak, my h pawn is weak, my c pawn is weak. These are all concerns, but I have a rook on a5 and I'm ready to double. So I think a logical move is king g7, defending this pawn so that I can free up my rook. And if I can get counterplay down the a file, then maybe he won't have time to play this plan and pile up on my backwards f pawn. So that's what I was thinking. Yeah, and he played d5. I don't understand this move. I don't like it, and the computer agrees with me. He needs to challenge the a file right away. I was actually worried about this move. Yeah, after this, I don't know what to do. I cannot play rook here, and rook takes a1 is not desirable. Then I'm giving him the a file. So now he owns the a file. Computer gives this move. I like that. Now if he takes, I take with a knight and I'm on this pawn. And it says rook f3 is best. And then king f7. So, but I'll show what happened in the game. In the game d5. So that's probably like the second bad move by my opponent. First being to take the rook off the a file to begin with. So I think my opponent actually played very well, but the only thing that he seemed to do wrong was not understand the value of the open a file. Okay, so now he goes here. I didn't understand this move either. If I move my knight, I understand it. Like if I move my knight away, then he wants to come in here, but my knight doesn't have to move. So I doubled rook here, and I think his plan is c4, c5. And after takes, either the rook will come, or if I move my knight, bishop or rook here. So I came down. Let's see if the computer likes this. Yeah, rook a2, very natural, right? I'm establishing my rook on his second rank, and it has a threat. And maybe I can have some play against this pawn. Like this might be a plan now. All right. Not sure about this move either. Computer actually says it's best. Interesting. All right, so I attack this pawn. Now he does have, yeah, actually I understand why this move is good now, because this is a deal. This is a concern, the knight coming into f5. So he hits my rook with tempo. I go here, and now I really thought he should just go ahead and check me. Don't see what could be wrong with that. But in the game, he played here. A little bit passive, a little bit passive. So I just went ahead and brought my other rook down. Yeah, and the computer is saying that the game is a draw. But this is an interesting endgame where anything can happen, if you ask me. Okay, he came to defend his pawn and push it. He probably still wants to do this plan. Very reasonable. So I blockaded. And now rook there. Yeah, and I was really down on the clock here, like less than a minute. But I think if I had more time, I would have really considered not taking the rook. Like, this is a move. Attacking the pawn. But I do have to worry about knight f5 check. Here. Rook here. I'm not sure. It's a complicated game still. But I went ahead and took the rook. He took back. Now, I really want to see if I played this well or not. King g6, top engine choice. So my idea was to first deal with my h-pawn. I want to play h5 and solve that weakness. I have to protect this pawn and this pawn. These are my concerns. But at the same time, my opponent has his own concerns. He has a weak g2 pawn. He has a weak e pawn, and he has a weak c pawn. So I have lots of targets for my knight. Yeah, h5, is that a good move? It's one of the moves, yes. So far so good. I was playing correctly. Right there. Now it does want h4. I was considering this in the game. But I thought I'd be annoying, apply some pressure on his pawn. Now I took. Yeah, I thought he should take with the king here. If the king takes, he's actually threatening h4, and if I take, he creates a pass pawn. Very reasonable. At the same time, though, I can probably get a pass pawn as well with f5, and if takes, this becomes a pass pawn. So king takes was stronger. Instead, he took with a pawn in the game. And I think that's just a bad move, and the computer agrees. It says black's actually better now. The reason being, this is a permanent weakness, so instead of a pass pawn, he has a permanent weakness on g3 that he has to defend. And with these other weaknesses, it's just not easy to play white. Okay, and now I thought maybe a plan would be king e7, king d7, c6. Although even if he takes it, I still have this weakness, so I don't know. I think my real plan was to hop my knight around and be annoying. So here I played check. Notice he wants to go here, but I would play knight f2 check, picking this pawn up. So I came back. He went here. I went here. Now I'm threatening the fork. He came back. Yeah, and I can go. Actually, knight b2 is the best move here. But I checked. Yeah, and we had a draw by repetition. You know, I was way down on the clock, so I think he had like 5 minutes or more left, and I had less than 20 seconds. Had I more time on the clock, I think I would have played this on. But given that I could lose on time, I felt a draw was an acceptable result. So, okay, we looked at this whole game. Now let's just review the critical moments very quickly. I'm going to the retry mode on chess.com, and let's see if we can understand. It's saying bishop e6 is not correct here. So what is correct? I know it's not g5. We determined that g5 is wrong. It's probably this move. Yeah, it's a5. A move that I don't understand. After b5, oh yeah, I do understand because I want to play knight b8. Knight e7 is also a move here, allowing this. Not sure I would do something like that, but that's good to know. Let's go to the next one. Knight takes g3, incorrect here. So I ask you as well, what's a better move? Queen d7. Yeah. And the point is that this pin doesn't matter. After takes, takes. If pawn takes, I actually have the option to, well, I can take with the f pawn even, or I can just take with the knight on e5. And this is defended, so I don't have an issue here. All right, next one. So in this position, I played knight b6, but knight b6 allows rook a1, so what's better? It's like I played in the game, but a tempo earlier, a5. This is the correct move. So, yeah, very interesting game, and I will show the report on the game as our last order of business here. And, yeah, so my opponent played very well. Like, I especially wouldn't expect a 15-20 player to play this well. There's only one mistake and one blunder, and I was under pressure the entire game. So I'm actually lucky to have saved that and get the draw. Oh, and I'll show the graph. Yeah, so it looked like, I just got outplayed in the opening a bit, or maybe I misplayed it a little bit. I had a chance to come back a bit, and then this is probably that ending where it was mostly drawish, but I was better in the end, but very low on the clock. So, okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this game and this video, and I'll be back with more chess. So, thanks for watching. Bye.